But we'll get started, like we always do, with this month in Nerdery. This has been a great few months in Nerdery since our last show, because September 12th was this year's Ig Nobel Prizes. For those who missed our last Ig Nobel Prize review, these are prizes that go to genuine peer-reviewed research about very silly subjects. Such as last year's Biology Award, going to a study showing scorpions will sometimes remove their own butthole, but they don't let that get in the way of love. This year has also had some excellent winners, so prepare for a journey into 2024's silliest science. The Ig Nobel Prize for Medicine was awarded to research into the placebo effect. Research has shown placebos are incredibly effective at treating problems. Something about being told you'll get better just makes humans will it into existence at a statistically significant level. Thanks to this research, we now know that placebos are even more effective if they come with negative side effects. The experiment involved telling subjects they would be given a pain medication via nasal spray. The control group was given a saline spray with no painkillers. Then the experimental subjects were also given a spray with no painkillers, but instead of saline, their spray had capsaicin to simulate the effect of snorting a line of powdered ghost pepper. And as it turns out, the painful spicy pepper placebo had a beneficial impact on patient outcomes compared to the regular placebo, finally validating some of the dumbest choices out of medieval medicine, such as trepanation, as seen here, which is the medical intervention of just stabbing someone in the head. The only thing that could possibly be better is, giving someone actual medicine. But if you think about it, this research can really only lead us to one logical conclusion. Pfizer Pharmaceuticals really should start spicing things up. In other ass-based science, some in this audience may know the term blowing smoke up your ass comes from the medical practice of literally blowing tobacco smoke up someone's ass. In the 1700s, it was used for a variety of ailments, but most notably for drowning. And I need to emphasize, because I like to exaggerate things in a lot of my jokes, I am not blowing smoke up your ass with this one. This is literally what lifeguards used to do to help drowning victims. As you may have guessed from the meaning of the term blowing smoke up your ass, it did not work at all. But this didn't stop our next group of scientists from trying it again, this time switching from tobacco smoke to concentrated oxygen. In their paper, Mammalian Interior Ventilation Ameliorates Respiratory Failure. They were doing research on alternative methods to oxygenate blood. And with history repeating itself, they found that oxygen enemas in gas form will not save you if you're unable to breathe. However, if you find yourself in a place where you can't get oxygen the normal way, they did discover that butt-chugging highly oxygenated perfluorocarbon might be just what the doctor ordered. Similar to the family of aquatic organisms called loaches, the researchers found that mammals are also able to absorb oxygen through their intestines. The research was originally conducted to help patients with COVID who were having trouble absorbing oxygen through their lungs. But now that things with COVID are getting better, this research will be continued at Marlborough Labs. Continuing in the world of fish, the Ig Nobel Prize for Physics went to a study studying the Kármán gait of trout. This is a movement pattern where the tail oscillates laterally in perfect coordination with the flow of liquid while the fish is traversing a vortex of water. Scientists have long known this gait as an amazing feat of efficiency that the intelligent and noble trout are able to learn through years of swimming experience. Well, Jimmy Lau from Harvard showed that the fish will also perform this gait if they are dead. And to wrap it up, it feels like a great time to share one of the most influential papers to ever win an Ig Nobel Prize. fMRIs are able to identify and visualize areas of brain activity. For example, you can map areas of the motor cortex by having a patient move their hand and seeing what parts of the brain light up. But it's a complicated process requiring a lot of math. And if you don't do the math correctly, you'll get evidence for things that aren't actually happening. Well, Craig Bennett from Dartmouth was getting really pissed about how many experiments were being published arguing about incorrect conclusions because they were doing the math wrong. But rather than take the high road and publish a paper asking the community to check their work, he performed one of the most passive-aggressive moves of 21st century science. Instead, he took a dead salmon, put it in an MRI machine, and proved that the dead salmon could recognize human emotions. And despite how silly it sounds, this actually stopped the vast majority of these papers from coming out. And with this dead fish MRI study, the entire field of experimental neuropsychology took a great leap forward. Though many researchers still agree, Craig was kind of an ass.